Welcome, everyone. We're at class 10, 10 of 10. We made it. Hopefully, your plants are making it well as well right now. And I know from looking at the Padlet, I'm seeing a lot of wonderful successes and things that are on their way to success. And I'm also seeing some challenges, and it's all to be expected in the world of growing plants on this planet that we live on. But again, yeah, encouraging just taking a minute or two right now while we wait for people to join to check out the Padlet. And maybe Marielle, you can add that link as always to the chat. A good time to see what's up in other people's gardens. I know it's super exciting for me to see like all the beans, even when we think about just how scarce they were when we started this cohort, and then we had to scrounge to be able to send some extra beans when germination wasn't happening. And then to just see a picture of so many beans on a little tray is pretty amazing and magical. Just what we're capable of doing, and just to know that, there's a whole bunch of us that have been producing these beans, and no more is it going to be in that mode of scarcity. Yeah, so check out the Padlet, and yeah, it's fun seeing all the tomatoes, the red tomatoes growing in there. I know the lettuce is a little bit slower. Ethiopian kale is a little bit slower, but they're coming along nicely, it looks like, for most people. And we'll just give a couple minutes more for any stragglers to show up. And I guess it's also a good time perhaps to write in the chat if you are having challenges or have questions about your crops right now. You can throw them in there and we can answer over the course of the class. Get that information because we're not going to focus too much on that for this class. But I know some of you probably do have questions about your plants and where they're at. And probably if you ask your question, it's going to help others who might be having a similar challenge as well.
It was really great seeing so many of you at the variety showcase. I'm so glad you could come, and I got to meet some of you that I never met before. So mahalo for that. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Same here.
Oh, we did a survey of because at the green bean table we had three of the four varieties of UH to taste, and Melissa did a survey of everyone who came to the table and tasted each one. Poamoho won, hands down.
Hmm.
Yeah, hands down.
That's awesome. I love how you were able to turn the event into data gathering and
Data gathering. And there were some green bean breeders because, the breeders conference was going on. So some of the green bean breeders, of course, came over to the table to like inspect everything. And a couple of them said that, like, especially the long Poamohos and the Lualuales were the most beautiful beans they had ever seen. For a green bean breeder to say that, that was pretty something else. Yeah. So
Yeah.
these are definitely worth keeping.
Yeah.
Mahalo to all of you for doing that. Yeah.
All right, well, we will jump in. We're 5 minutes in, and I'm sure there's going to be some additional people joining. But I know I've said this before, but I so appreciate how timely this group has been, and just the level of participation. When we were designing this course, we expected a drop off of people as time goes, as often happens with online courses, and we haven't really seen it. Right now we have a slow start to be at 25 people on this call, but I've seen consistently over 30 people on every call, and we get to the end of the call and it's still over 30 people. Sometimes we go over 15 minutes and it's still over 30 people showing up. And so it's just goes to show the power of, us coming together and sharing information and learning and growing together and doing this seed work, and how, important it is to share the work we're doing. And so for all of you who have been in this cohort, you're kind of seed carriers now, and, knowledge carriers for this stuff. And it's beautiful work we're doing. And so we're really happy to have you have you on the team. And today's class, what we're going to focus on a couple of things. I guess one is our seed business, the Hawaii Seed Growers Network. And Michelle is going to give a presentation that's going to give a brief overview of the Hawaii Seed Growers Network and how you can be involved going forward. And we'll also touch base on how to, kind of continue our thread of connection in these coming weeks and months, particularly as you guys finish out your seed crop and start sending them in, just to know that, we're available for you and how to be in touch on that end. And and then from there, we're going to shift gears a little bit and we're going to ask each of you to unmute yourselves and turn your camera on, your video on if possible, and just take a minute, a very specific minute maximum because there's a lot of us and we want to honor the time tonight. But to just share your takeaway for what you received from this course and what was valuable and helpful for you during the course. Just kind of whatever you want to share in reflection would really, benefit us to know in terms of the offering and going forward, how we can, kind of cater the offering in a right way, but then also just allow us to connect with each other in another way. And it's kind of the downfall of sharing in this way on computers, and we're very far away, and we have people presenting and people watching. And I know for myself, I've kind of longed to have more of a connection with, people's faces and voices. And so it just kind of gives a little nugget of opportunity for that. So we'll shift to that after Michelle. And yeah, and then we'll close out after that. But I'm going to pass it on to Michelle to share about the Hawaii Sea Growers Network and how you can be involved.
Great. Thanks so much, Evan. And aloha to each of you. Thanks so much for being here with us again tonight. As Evan said, I have a presentation for you folks. Marielle, are you able to bring that up on your slide? Great. Thank you. All right. Here we go. All right. So the founding members of Hawaii Seed Growers Network organized as an LLC in 2018 with the goal of developing a self-sustaining local seed company. At heart, we are a group of local farmers who have realized the importance of keeping open pollinated, locally developed seeds available and accessible to both home growers and local farmers. We believe that local seeds are the foundation of our local food supply and that these local seeds are critical to Hawaii's ability to produce enough food to feed our local communities. Next slide. In our first class, Nancy told you all about the story of seed consolidation, privatization, beginning with the loss of funding for public seed programs and resulting in a drastic and sudden loss of seed diversity. Life science industry giant companies now own and control nearly 70% of the total seed market of the whole world. And so while just 100 years ago, the great majority of seed was owned by farmers and public sector plant breeders, now nearly 70% of seeds are owned by life science industry giant pharmaceuticals and chemical companies. Next slide. So this led us to sign on and commit to the Safe Seed Pledge, which is run by a nonprofit that aims to protect the diversity and genetic integrity of seeds as the foundation for a safe and stable food supply for generations to come. An ever-increasing number of organisms are being genetically modified in labs and are quietly making their way into communities and into our food supply. Home gardeners can now purchase a genetically modified purple tomato, GM zucchini, and GM mustard greens. Next slide. Since opening the Hawaii Seed Growers Network online marketplace in 2018, we have provided 52,360 packets of locally grown seed to Hawaii's home growers and small farmers. We've grown the number of local seed varieties that we offer from 30 cultivar types to our current number of 104 specialty crop varieties. We value building relationships with our community partners and organizations, including local DOE schools and online homeschool groups, and we have provided over 4,000 seed packets to students across the Hawaiian Islands. And to support our customers' continued gardening success, our growers have published 59 educational blogs on our website, which have achieved over 63,000 views by our customer base. And our seasoned group of seed growers has provided peer mentoring support to increase the skills of 6 new seed growers who are now providing seed for the online marketplace. And of course, we are hopeful that that number is growing with this course. Next slide. Becoming a seed grower for the Hawaii Seed Growers Network. So we hope that this course has been both inspiring and challenging for you folks. And if it has been, then that is going to be a real representation of what it is like to grow seed. And we hope that at least some of you are intending to keep moving forward and honing your seed keeping skills. We know that gardening and farming does have a very high attrition rate, and we know that not all of you are going to become seed growers for the Hawaii Seed Growers Network, but we do hope that many of you will be. And so just to get a little bit of feedback right now, for those of you who are interested in growing for the Hawaii Seed Growers Network, could you take a moment and just raise your hand? You could select the raise your hand on the screen. If you go to your react button down below, you can select that right there and then raise your hand. Thank you so much. And for those of you that are interested, we have put the Hawaii Seed Growers Network application in the Class 10 folder. Marielle is going to pop that link into the chat for you, but if you don't have it, right now, you can always go back into our Class 10 folder and you can find that application there. So once you see the application, you can go ahead and download that file, fill it out, and return it to me at hawaiiseedgrowersnetwork@gmail.com. And once we receive that application, you are going to be invited to join a quarterly Zoom meeting for new growers. So during these calls, we are going to be available to provide assistance, mentoring, seed saving mentoring, growing mentoring support, and we want to help you with information for varieties that we need to have regrown and grown out, and we can also provide you with seeds for those varieties. And we are going to be staying in touch with you folks because we know you're not done with your seed crops and we want to continue supporting you through this. So we're going to start with just staying in touch with email. So we'll be sending you a monthly email to check in. And of course, we want you to reach out to us at any time if you need help or assistance. And so we can go ahead and put, you all have my email, so feel free to reach out to me. And we also can pop our emails into the chat. I put a contact list in our class resource folder that has everybody's email in there so you can stay in touch with each other. And I'm going to go ahead and add to that all of our emails so that you have that access at your fingertips. Next slide. Sending in seed. So this is going to talk about how you go about sending in your seed to us. And just before you do send in your seed, I just want to remind you that it is imperative to make sure that you're sending quality seed. Make sure your seed is thoroughly clean so you know that there's no bugs, no insects, there's no disease on your plants when you harvested your seeds look good and free of mold, and you have completed a germination test. So remember that you need to dry your seeds. You don't need to dry them all the way, but that you do need to get them down to about 15 to 20% moisture content to help with a smooth transit to the seed bank where your seeds are going to be completely dried down. So we have provided you with a form to use as a checklist that you can use for sending in your seed. Make sure you have things correct and you know where to be sending those to. And those are also in the Class 10 resource folder. And Marielle can pop that link into the chat. Now this form is also something that you can use when you are sending in your seed that you've produced for these crops. So you can go ahead and just download that, fill it out, and include it with your seeds. I have noted on there, typically when you send in seeds that you've grown for the marketplace, we have the growers separate out 50 seeds that we use for germination testing. So we have that listed on the form to separate out 50 seeds separate from your bulk of your seeds, and that helps us with the germ test. If you're sending in seed for this course, the 4 crops that you've grown out for this course, you don't really need to separate out the 50 seed. You could do a smaller number, more like, how about 25? That will be good for us to go with. And I'll make a note of that for you folks. Next slide. And I just want to review germination testing again, so you all have this at your fingertips of how to do this. This is really important that you do germ testing before sending in your seed. So you want to know where your seeds are at in terms of viabilities. So you want to just take a moistened paper towel. You're going to get it wet, and then you're going to squeeze out all the excess water. Lay out that paper towel and sprinkle out your seeds. I typically use 50. It's a good number to go with. The math is easy, and you really get a good representation of your seed lot. You want to be careful to select different types of seeds. So if you have large seeds, small seeds, seeds that are slightly different colors, make sure you get a good representation of your seed lot in your germ test. Sprinkle all your seeds out evenly in a row, roll up your towel, and then place it inside of a Ziploc. You just need to leave it there for about 3 to 5 days, and then you can open it up and see where your germination is at. If you don't have good germination, then maybe let it go a little bit longer. Make sure your moisture is still good. You can like spritz it if it's getting a little bit dry, but probably it'll stay just fine inside of that Ziploc. And then to find out your percentage, you divide the number of germinated seed by the total number of seeds that you tested, and that's going to give you your percentage rate. Next slide. Once your seeds arrive at the seed bank, they are promptly removed from their package and they are weighed out, counted, and inspected for insects, disease, cracked and broken seeds are removed. We then assign them a lot number and they're entered into the seed bank's tracking system. Seeds are then set out for further drying, and we begin an official germination test with your 50 seeds. And once those seeds have passed the USDA germination standards and we've dried them down to less than 10% moisture content, then we package them up and prepare them to go onto the marketplace. Next slide. So farmers are paid on a quarterly basis and receive $2 for each seed packet of any varieties that they grew and that sold in the previous quarter. So paying growers on a consignment basis, this allows us to have a large variety of seeds available on the marketplace and lets us learn about what type of varieties home growers are most interested in purchasing for their gardens. Different varieties have different amounts of seed in each packet, and we intentionally keep our numbers low because farmer lots are almost always on the small side. So packet amounts can vary from 10 seeds in each packet for squash and some beans. Lettuce has 50 seeds in each packet. We have 25 seeds for tomatoes and peppers and 60 seeds for corn. And as you can see through this project, it's difficult to get large batches of seed when you do everything by hand and with small amounts of cultivars in the field. Next slide. So this wraps up our first seed saving course. And we just want to really thank you all for participating, for spending so much of your time with us. Please take a moment, if you haven't already, to fill out our exit survey. So your responses are really going to help us to hone in and improve our next year's course, which will be happening next year, and it will be focused on outbreeders or outcrossers, so crops that need cross-pollination in order to set seed. Next slide. And we can't complete this without thanking our sponsors here. While we are not a nonprofit, we do occasionally receive grant funding that helps us to grow and expand our operations. And we have been so fortunate to have been receiving ongoing support from the Hawaii Department of Agriculture through the Specialty Crop Block Grant. This grant has provided us with funds to teach this course and hopefully grow the number of specialty crop producers in Hawaii. And we are so grateful for their support. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle, for sharing that information. It's the details on the network. And if anyone has questions about that too, I invite you to put that in the chat as well. And we can answer things in real time around that. And now we're going to take a moment to allow you guys to just share. We'd really love to hear from everybody. We'd really love to see everybody's faces when you share, if that's possible. And then also we're just requesting just like a minute of sharing. And I think maybe just to expedite that process, perhaps I will just go through, assuming that it stays in a linear fashion on my screen, but just call on people and give them a chance. And when I call on the person, I'll also share who's next, so you can be prepared to just jump in at that point. And Kimberly, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, because you're the first in my linear view of things. And so, yeah, Kimberly, if you can share, and you just whatever feedback you want to offer, what your takeaway is from the course, and yeah, whatever you feel inspired to share would be great. And then after Kimberly, Dan, you'll be up next.
Well, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for providing this space for us to learn. After this class, I have like a dire existential crisis kind of like thought of like we need more of us. Like there needs to be more of these classes. There needs to be more people doing, if it's just a small amount. So I really appreciate that we had this opportunity to have these 10 weeks together. And then also that that it's possible to continue on for UH. I guess there's no sport at UH, but if there's more interest in the next generation, I hope that the seed program, I guess, gets revitalized at UH, because I think it's extremely necessary, and especially for us being so isolated. We have a unique growing opportunity to really provide food not only for ourselves but for the rest of the world. So that's my little takeaway. But thank you again.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kimberly. Where are you located, Kimberly?
I'm in Waipio, Central Oahu, growing out at we'll be growing out at Wailua at the Go Farm site there. Currently sort of working out at Waianae as well. So I'm a little bit all over the place.
Wonderful.
But my
Thank you.
background, I guess someone asked for my background, but this is the kalo that we grew out at the library, the kalo library at the Go Farm site with my cohort last year.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Nice. Yeah. So Dan will be next, and after Dan, we'll have Kat. And maybe if everyone could also just share where you are located.
Hey everyone, hope you can hear me. All right, I'm going through my phone. Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm Dan. I'm located up Holualoa on Kona side on the Big Island. Pretty high elevation, but yeah, I wanted to kind of reiterate kind of what Kimberly said about just having the opportunity to have the space to kind of learn from all the experts and everyone else is pretty awesome. Like just being able to everybody's super busy, but we can still all join in and kind of just take some time out. And yeah, I think it's really important moving forward. And also a great opportunity for myself getting to attend some of the events and talk story with you guys in person. That was pretty awesome. And yeah, I think maybe just speaking for myself, for other people, it's really like a great jumpstart for me to kind of network with people, not only on Big Island, but the rest of the state in terms of what we're really interested in, what we value. It's really important for the rest of the community. And yeah, I look forward to meeting everybody in person, hopefully at some point. But yeah, awesome. Thanks for the opportunity again.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dan. And yeah, we're going to jump to Kat, and Yuki, you'll be up after Kat. Kat, are you there? All right, we'll cycle back. So we'll jump to Yuki, and Cynthia, you'll be up next. So,
Hi,
Yuki.
my name is Yukie, and my family, we have a farm in Hilo in Kaumana at about 900 feet. I am a Go Farm alumni, and so I've been very, very interested in growing, but the idea of doing seed is exciting for me. My first uh, My first experience with saving seed was actually working as a planner on Oahu a number of years ago, where on one of our project sites, we found an endangered species called Abutilon menziesii, which is a little hibiscus. Anyway, I was involved in putting a plan together to save that species. And as a result of that, a lot of seed were collected from the project site in Eva. And today there are literally thousands of plants of that species. So, that's near and dear to my heart. And now I'd like to transfer that same excitement of saving seed by doing vegetable crops. So I'm really interested in beans. So the poa moho, Nancy, you've just really inspired me. With your love, your enthusiasm, and your dedication. So I definitely want to continue working with the poa moho bean as well as other beans. I want to just thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you, Yuki. And Cynthia, followed by Kim. We had Kimberly already, so now is where it's getting a little wacky. Michael will be after.
Hi, I am so happy with this project. I went to the showcase. It was great to meet you all, I think, except Evan. Um, but everyone else, I mean, it's the conversations, the feedback, the appreciation for what, the project is doing and what the company does. It's amazing. I've been growing stuff since I was a little kid, and I always will. I have piles of seeds, but learning to grow and store seeds better, I think part of it is the science of it. Making sure that what you're doing is a valuable resource instead of just a hobbyist. Being able to understand, you know, the humidity, how it affects the longevity of the seed and all of those things. That piece of it is critical because otherwise, I mean, I can save seed 7 ways to Sunday, but if I'm not saving good seed, what's the point? It's like it doesn't have that longevity or that benefit. I grow a lot of plants. I grow a lot of food, and but small scale. And so now being able to reach out on a larger scale and understand how I can reach a different audience and appreciate the benefit to the community, I think is just priceless. So thank you all for making this possible. Um, I look forward to the future with this group. Um, I hope I can contribute some value to you. So thank you.
Mhm. Thank you, Cynthia. I've loved seeing your pictures that you've been posting on the Padlet as well. So it's been such a great contribution to see that. And yeah, we're Michael's up, and next up will be Lori.
I'm like everybody else, I'm really thankful that all of you, took your time to do this for us. Hopefully, we're learning a lot from it. I've saved seeds for many years on just a personal basis, but never thought about how much more complicated it is to grow what you want and to keep the type of seeds that you want for to make the next year's planting even better than it was this year. I think that was the main piece. I live in Waikolo Village on a very small lot, so not a lot happening here with the heat and the wind. So I grew all my plants up at the extension office and haven't got to the point to have anything harvested yet, but it's doing well. It looks good anyway, and I'm hoping to provide a good bounty of seeds to you, and maybe even in the future. We in the Master Gardeners, in the Master Gardeners Association, and we're all talking about being able to do this type of stuff. We supply seeds to the libraries across the west side of the Big Island, and so getting more interested in looking at what seeds are for a particular area as opposed to just grabbing seeds from the mainland has all kind of piqued our interest. And so again, thank you all for letting me participate.
Thank you, Michael. And we'll go to Lori, and next up, the screen name Waimea Doroha. You're muted, Lori.
Like everyone else, I just want to take the time to thank all of you who took your time to share your knowledge and inspire us. I feel really inspired to be part of that change that we really need, desperately need. I'm from Lahaina, and I lost everything in the fires and then decided to make the switch. Had that existential crisis that you were talking about, and joined Go Farm and graduated in 2024, and now have a little small plot in the incubator part of the program. And I just love how just from this little bit of time, I feel so empowered to actually be a seed saver and learn how to, see what I want, what traits I want to further, and what to look for, and you know, what things from Glenn, all the things that I can control, to control everything that I can control. And I just feel like I feel so inspired to, I know it's Nancy has said it over and over, what a learning process that is. And I take that into consideration, but, just to start where you're at and, learn along the way. I also love, I love that I can even get seeds from you guys. And I love that Glenn said that, those some seed companies are liars, that they say that it's hybrid and it's not hybrid. You can freaking save seeds from that, And so I'm going to start saving seeds from everything and just see if it works. And, the Koba onions that I got from you guys that I'm going to let, go to seed and then save those seeds and just keep at it, because this is such important work. And I have a vision of every single little microclimate on Maui having their own little seed specialist, go back to Lahaina and be the seed specialist in that climate, and then a haiku climate, and then cool, different, all different places all over the islands, and have our own diversified, specialized, localized crops of seeds, so that's my vision. And I just thank you for for all your knowledge and your inspiration.
Thank you. I love that vision. It's definitely a shared vision among us here. All right, so Waimea Doroha, followed by Cadence.
Hi, aloha, and same. I just want to thank all of you for your wisdom, and it was such an honor to go through this experience. It was very new, very inspiring, and right now going through a little challenges, so I'm kind of used to that. I am growing in the Mililani area. I am at the Hark site in Mililani. We are experimenting on the edges and in between solar panels. So we'll be growing a bunch of varieties and collecting data there. And I'm really excited to bring the seed aspect to this place as well and see how that goes. Um, what else? Yeah, I'm just a beginning farmer. I graduated from Go Farm Wailua and I just exited the incubator program. And so all of this information is also new and exciting, and I really do hope that I can contribute and continue on going forward with growing for seed. So thank you all again.
Thank you. And yeah, Cadence followed by Jake.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Cadence, and I'm currently in the Go Farm program on the Alai site on Hawaii Island, and I live in Ka'u on the slopes of Mauna Loa, up at 2,200 feet. So I feel like a lot of my things are going a bit slower than everyone else's, but they're moving along. And I agree with Kimberly. I always knew there was, corporate interest and control with seeds, but this course really inspired me to get moving and expand my knowledge and share that knowledge with others because it's truly the most important thing. If we're not able to ship in seeds from afar, what are we going to do? So I'm very inspired. I've loved the course. All the instructors were incredible. I loved how, Glenn, you were on Molokai and Evan, you're on Maui. We have different people on different islands and explaining specifics with different microclimates, which I loved. And the Padlet was great. So that was one of my favorite parts was logging on and seeing what everyone was doing. It really inspired me to keep going and not be intimidated by the process and just that we were all in it together and sharing with each other. And I think that's it. I'm super grateful. I feel like everyone in the world should take this course. I feel like this is like fundamental knowledge for being human on Earth. So I'm stoked and I look forward to staying in touch with everyone.
Thank you, Cadence. We miss you on Maui, former Maui resident there. So jump into Jake, followed by Jan.
Hey everybody, my name is Jake. I'm the Go Farm coach for Maui. So if you are on Maui and um, want to learn more about beginner farmer education, let me know. I really enjoyed the systematic approach for this course, starting with why you should even save seeds, going to planning and then prepping, seeding, actually starting the seeds, growing out, and then the plants, what problems we might encounter, and then how to process all the seeds too. I just really enjoyed that step by step by step. I feel like I kind of sort of knew about how to save seed, but going through this course has like really made everything solid and firmed it all up for me. I think I'll be able to harvest seed from 3 of the crops, and then at the variety showcase, I was able to pick up some more Pomoho bean from Nancy's booth. So gonna give it another shot too. So thanks everybody, and hopefully this leads to more future seed growing and future collaboration. So it's really great to meet everybody, and thanks Evan, Breton, Michelle, Nancy, Uncle Glenn, and of course Marielle as well. So thanks everybody, really grateful and awesome experience.
Mhm. Thank you, Jake. And going from Jan and then going to Dan.
Aloha. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for all your help, all the leaders of the seed growers. I really do appreciate it. Um, I'm a home gardener, so I do a lot of planting, but growing these four different types of plant was a challenge because I didn't think I would fail in some of them, but because our weather was off and on rainy. I was trying to cover my plants because they were just getting bombarded with just getting all sogged up and stuff. So my beans, I believe, turned out the best out of all of them. And then my lettuce, I'm just waiting on 2 plants because it looks like it's already seeding. My tomatoes, it's a failure. And the kale is actually a strong one too. Yeah, but my tomatoes, I was kind of sad with the failure of it. So I said, okay, I'll try again. And tomatoes is actually a challenge for me. So yeah, but I do enjoy saving the seeds. I save other types of seeds, but the humidity thing, I think I have to get the the dry card, and the humidity uh, thing for the seeds because drying my beans, I just dried it, open air, and then I counted it. I haven't done the testing yet, but they look pretty good to me. I had some uh, crack ones, and there were just a few, but altogether I had like 395. I counted 395. So whether if I get a good germination is the next step. But I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. I love that you counted out your beans. It just shows the passion behind tending these plants and really the value of the work that we're doing, that like it's that important to know like, every bean being sacred in that way. It's
I think
beautiful.
Nancy had mentioned something about if we at least get 100 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was saying, I hope I get 100. I hope I get 100. And then when we counted it, wow, 395. Okay, now we have to see if it's good seeds.
Well done. So we had Dan on deck, unless you already went, Dan, which I'm not sure if you have or not. So I'll give you a sec to come on if you haven't. And then, yeah, so we'll go to Bonnie. And after Bonnie will be Diane.
Sorry, can you skip me 1 second?
Yes, we can. So we'll go to Diane and then it'll be Bonnie.
Hi, well, sorry, no video. I'm in my jammies already, so I'd rather not be on camera. Um, I was really impressed with the quality of this class for you guys doing this for the first time. You put together a really comprehensive set of materials, and it was wonderful to have um, opinions from all of you, which, sometimes you each added a little something different here and there, which I really appreciated. For me, the highlight of the class was learning about the specifics of seed saving in Hawaii. Um, so I've saved seed a lot myself, and I just let the beans dry down on the plant. Well, now I know better, how to do it correct. The factor of humidity, the seeds have to be out of the pod as soon as possible. So that was just kind of an eye opener about that. So yeah, that did it for me. Um, I wasn't as successful as I thought I was going to be with the seeds. Tomatoes didn't do well. The beans have dried up. The vines dried up. So, uh, I was surprised. The lettuce did really well. I'm on the Big Island, Hamakua, Honomu, which is about 300 feet. We did have some really dry weather, so that affected things. Um, so um, I am really excited to learn more about this. And I think Nancy said at one point, it's like, hey, it's okay if you're not successful. And I was kind of thinking, oh, geez, I've failed and, I just can't do this. But I really appreciated her saying that because I have failed in some aspects, but, it's a learning experience. So I'll continue. I really want to know more about the plant breeding aspect. I know Glenn is a great source of information for that. So um, I appreciate everything that he said about about plant breeding here and there. Anyway, thank you all again. It's been a wonderful class. I look forward to the next session.
Thank you. So Bonnie and followed by Marla.
Okay, sorry, our oven's kind of old and then my kids are making pizza. So the alarm went off, of course, right when you called on me. But so just, thank you all again. I think I wrote to Nancy, this is like learning how to play guitar from your favorite rock stars because I've been following you guys and the Hawaii Seed Growers Network. So I just wanted to really thank you guys for this learning opportunity. Um, because I'm pretty new to growing, and the Olelo no Eao is Makahana ka Ike. So like you learn by doing. And so I'm really thankful that we had the trust, the opportunity, the time, and the guidance to learn and do. So I grew with my class. I teach at Mililani High School. So that's about 600 feet elevation on Oahu. There's 11 of them. And so I felt like this was probably the most important thing that I could do with them. And unfortunately, our school ended already, so we didn't get through the seed saving process as far as harvesting for seed, but they helped me plant. We went through so much like ups and downs, especially with the pomoho, and we're like, oh my God, they're not there. And then now there's this huge trellis like of pomoho, and they got to see that, and the lettuce like they wilted because the sprinklers went off for a weekend, but then they came back. And so like going through this whole thing with them, and I think Lori said like the empowerment, like we can do this, right? And it's possible. But I think above everything, it's the intentionality of what we're doing, why we're growing, for seed. And I think to get that across to the students and to the next generation is I think we need to do more of this. So why are we growing it? We're growing it so we can eat it. And why are we growing it to eat it and save the seeds? And, for the variety that tastes good, for the one that's most nutritious, the one that grows well in your spot. And so we were able to make, because we did a Three Sisters garden beforehand too. So we were able to make a chili with like 4 beans along with the pomohos. Um, but the thing that I have in my head is because I'm just a science class with 11 students, and we still have an entire agriculture program at our school. And so I feel like, why isn't every high school ag teacher doing this? Like, why aren't we doing this all together? Because so right now their sustainability is value added products. And so they're so focused on these value added products and not actually growing the amount of food per space. It's all about like money and like selling, exporting. And so if you guys can help me, I feel like we need to make some big changes in our ag programs at our high schools, because if they're not doing this, I don't know what they're doing. So, and it's been a challenge. Like I'm even fighting for space on our field to grow. So I would love your support, but thank you guys. Thank you all.
Mhm. Thank you, Bonnie. What a blessing to be sharing this with your students in that way. And we are going to go to
Marla.
Marla, followed by Sarah.
Um, Bonnie, you are an awesome science teacher to include agriculture in your curriculum. So thank you for doing that, because I think it takes a team of us. To the presenters of this program, thank you very much for having me. I'm an ag teacher, but I'm a novice. So thank you for allowing me to learn and develop confidence in this area of understanding how to grow for seed. I was not as successful as I hoped. I'm at Pro City High School, and we were growing on our 1 acre ag field that was, I have challenges with growing and getting water line down and keeping the guinea grass down, especially in this last few weeks. Um, we weren't able to get out because of rain, and then next thing you know, everything's growing tall. But the kale is growing well, but hasn't gone to seed yet. My pomoho beans are there, but not the best, but they're there. And tomatoes and lettuce didn't happen for me after just trying to do the seeding. But I'm not going to be continuing as an ag teacher next year, but what I'm going to take from this experience is understanding the resources that are out there, because this is greater professional development for me as a teacher than what the school can provide, especially with the curriculum that I was handed or the assignment that I had this year. I'm going to be going to the state CTE office as a resource teacher next year, so going to be able to share this experience. I think what I realized too, again, while I had caretakers when I was away on trips, there with a lot of hands involved, it was hard to make sure the plants were taken care of the way I wanted them to be taken care of. But yeah, we need more ag teachers as well. So June 7th, the Pearl City High School Library. If anybody knows of anybody on Oahu that's willing to be an ag teacher, Kimberly Oi. I also have culinary in the teaching line next year as well. So they're doing all kinds of applications for office jobs to teaching jobs for all of our complex area schools. So ag teachers as well are needed. And I've enjoyed this experience, and thank you very much for helping me and not to be afraid of seeds and collecting seeds and using them. In fact, today, some of my other successful products like the butterfly pea and the roselle hibiscus and squash that appeared, I sent home seeds with kids because I want them to go home and try and grow. So just taking this idea of collecting seeds and sharing, that was something that I gained confidence in and saying, go grow. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Marla. All right, Sarah, followed by Becca.
Hello, everybody, and I'd like to echo my appreciation for the inspiring course and the gratitude for being included in it. I think I've become sort of a proselytizer, so whenever I'm talking to people now, I start talking about seed saving and the importance of it. And I sometimes see people glaze over, and I'm like, but wait a minute. I mean, do you really know? Have you really thought about seeds in this new way? And like Michael Paris, I'm also a master gardener, and I'm involved in a summer junior master gardener program. So we're trying to always think about these different ways to bring aspects of the garden really to life in a more meaningful way. And part of my role in the junior master gardener program is I teach the nature journaling piece. So we're really looking at really being aware and present with the plants, but also looking at the ancestry of place, the importance of place. And so in this same way, sort of enriching the importance of seeds and the diversity and importance of not only the food supply, but the diversity of the seed itself. So looking at ways to bring that into how we're talking to the kids. I'm just looking at my notes, and then Lori mentioned the looking for traits. That's another sort of obsession as I go through the garden now. Okay, I'm actually going to collect from you, and I think no, not from that plant. And so starting to really look at plants differently in how I would save the seeds from the stronger varieties or the plants that are growing with more vibrancy and vitality. So I'm looking forward to networking with Big Island seed growers. I'm in Honokaa at about 1800 elevation, and all the plants seem to be doing well. I'm having slight withdrawal. I had to go to the mainland for a graduation, and I was like, well, I can't go for very long because I have to get back because the lettuce is going to flower. And so looking forward to being headed home. And thank you, to all the great wise teachers and the community. I really am excited for next year and to keep really broadening my vision and others about the importance of seed sustainability and diversity. So thank you very much.
Thanks for your enthusiasm, Sarah. All right, we're going to jump to Becca, followed by Cindy. All right, so we'll jump straight to you, Cindy, if you're there, and followed by Carlos. So, Cindy, if you're there, you can unmute. All right, so we'll go to Carlos, followed by Nelly.
Can you hear me, Cindy?
Yes, we can. Oh,
yes. Sorry. Yeah, I was in the car. Yes. I'm from Mountain View in the Big Island, near Hilo. This has been a really good course for me. It's really helpful. Learned a lot. I've been growing from seeds for some time and learned a lot about preserving, how to kind of harvest it and store it. Right, storage was my biggest issue before. I keep it for years and then lose most of it. So kind of learned a lot of it. The seeds I got, the beans, I was kind of partially successful. I have two plants surviving. The rest got eaten by some pests. Kale is coming good. Tomatoes are good, and the lettuce is coming good. So hoping to save a lot of seeds from those, whatever I have, and then be looking forward to being part of the Seed Growers Network probably next year.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yep.
And Carlos, followed by Nelly. Are you there, Carlos?
Yes. Oh my gosh. What a All right. Can you hear me there?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So yeah, thanks to the whole panel and thanks for everyone that um took the empowered themselves and took the chance to take the course as well. We need everyone saving seeds and teaching each other. I am originally from Guatemala. So I grew up on a farm. We mostly grew corn and squashes and sesame. And I've been on the islands for about 10 years now. I did the Go Farm program, graduated in 2020, which was quite the year to graduate. And I've been working mostly for other farmers. So I haven't really had my own um, space to practice this on, um, or to do something like this on, has always been for other farmers and what they want to grow, for the most part. So I'm presently living on in Papaico on the Big Island, and we're about maybe 400 feet, I think. And plants did amazingly, especially the kale. My beans probably didn't do as good as others, but they did fruit, and actually, it was just enough water that I popped some open recently, and it was like they were like perfectly cured in the pods. And I was like, it makes made me really happy to see that. But yeah, it's been a great review and also a good showcase because I moved here to help at a friend's farm, and we have a few different farmers that work on, it's 5 acres, so they do like food forests or orchard care and stuff like that. But we didn't really have like a full garden yet. That we had a garden space that we were working on, just kind of was looking sad, and uh, it was a great opportunity to kind of change the course of that garden. and also it inspired people to think about seeds and also acclimating seeds. And some people had no idea, even though they're farmers, they mostly grow trees and stuff like that. So they don't have as much experience with vegetables. So I think it was just very inspiring overall. And I have a half-acre lease next door that I hope to sort of expand into and grow some varieties there and continue on this path. So yeah, very thankful. It's a great step for me. And I'm looking forward to more. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carlos. And we're going to go to Nelly, followed by Tim.
Hello, my name is Nelly and I'm on the island of Kauai. Um, Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. I've learned so much in this course. I took Go Farm a few years ago, and ever since I've tended to my own little 10 by 30 plot. And I found that growing for food and then growing with the intention for seed saving, completely two different things in terms of selection and looking for traits to look to observe the traits of when you're saving for seed as opposed to just buying seed from different catalogs and trying to see if they would grow on Kauai. And it's been a task for me to not amend so much in terms of the crops that we were assigned to collect seeds from. And it has been a very much a learning experience for me in terms of the goals of seed saving and then plant propagating and then also harvesting for food. Because initially for me, it was just to get different varieties that I've never seen. And so a few years ago, I just bought a whole bunch of different seeds. And then from learning from the courses in our class, I found that maybe it's not the best to have the plant flower early on. And just learning the seasons of our state and how it differs from the mainland seasons and why flowering early isn't as good and the longevity of the crops. Like for me, 3 months, 3 to 5 months of having one plant in the garden and having maybe 3 to 5 harvests for me was a success. But in learning that you could keep one tomato plant and have almost 8 to 9 months of continuous harvest is the new goal for me. And without having to um, supplement so much into the soil with for me it was compost teas and periodically adding more organic matter. I tended to buy a lot of peat moss and found out that that's not really for sustainability. It's not cost effective. And so finding natural resources around the island to supplement my garden as opposed to going out to Home Depot or going out to Ace Hardware to supplement my garden and spending so much more money on those products as opposed to sourcing it locally and actually gathering the organic material from my garden or surrounding areas. That has really impacted my thought process of how I go about gardening now. And just the knowledge that I learned from just even the fact that the Poamoho bean has been cultivated for 40 years to become what it is still astonishes me. That is the one crop that I have had success with. My tomatoes, I'm only now starting to get fruit from them. And we get so much I get so much rain up in Wailua homesteads that I don't really have irrigation in place, but on the days that we have stretches of no rain and just all sun, I'm starting to see the impact um, of the growth patterns on the plants, and that I would need to install irrigation for future just longevity. I've just learned so much, and I'm going to continue learning every year, and definitely go back and look at all of the materials and still gather so much more information, because I know base I'm just scratching the surface of how much knowledge there is that you have offered in the course. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelly. And we will go to Tim.
Aloha. Yeah, just wanted to give you guys a big mahalo for yeah, just spending so much time, so much extra time out of your guys' lives to share all your knowledge with us. Yeah, I've learned a tremendous amount throughout the course. Yeah, so I work for a nonprofit in Pa'oilo on the Big Island called Hui Malama Ike Lili, or known as Hui Mal. And primarily we do kind of like a maha ulu, so style agroforestry stuff. So a lot of canoe crops. So this is kind of a growing vegetables was definitely kind of a new thing for us. We've been trying to grow veggies for the community. We do community food distribution, so we're trying to figure out having kind of a space for that. And so I'm part of the Mahiai team in the Hui. We have a bunch of different kind of sectors of what we do, but I was the person out of the Mahiai crew that was taking the course. So it was really cool to be able to share all of this with them every week or every time we'd have a class. I would share with them what I learned, and I wanted them to be involved with the whole process as well. So one thing that so we ended up planting these crops at our little 5-acre parcel in Pa'oilo, which we have irrigation at finally. For many, many years, we've just kind of relied on rain. So I thought that'd be a good place to do it. And unfortunately, yeah, like the first couple weeks, I had everything going pretty good, and our animals got out. And we have a bunch of pigs and goats and sheep, and they kind of just trampled and tore through the whole mala space that I had everything. So that was kind of a bummer, but I was able to plant things again. And so I'm just a little bit behind. I think throughout the whole course, I was a little bit behind, but yeah, luckily, the tomatoes and the poa mojo beans are doing good. So I'm super stoked to use what I learned and be able to harvest seed from those. And yeah, one big thing that we really want to involve is with the keiki is seed saving. Big goal for us at the Hui is to yeah, just go towards food sustainability. So teaching the kids in our community, we're in a rural area, and so teaching them that they can source their own seeds here is awesome. Anytime we can source more food from our area, it's just really empowering. So yeah, just really mahalo you guys for doing such important sharing and spending your time sharing it with us. So yeah, I'll definitely go back and use those resources you folks shared with us and share them with the rest of the Hui. Have a much deeper appreciation for everyone that grows the vegetables that I eat. It's a lot more in depth, and like I didn't realize sort of like how sort of fragile growing vegetables and the involvement um, in comparison to like growing, my and ulu and stuff like that. It's been really a great learning experience. So mahalo nui.
Thank you, Tim. And Kat, if you're out there, I think you still have to go.
Hi. Yeah, thank you everyone for putting this task together. It was really good. I liked having the group mentality of it because it kind of kept me accountable. I was a little bit behind getting everything in the ground, and then we had some issues with our infrastructure. So in the end, I never planted it out. I just kept putting it into bigger pots. So I'm a little bit behind, but everything's still looking good and growing. And it was actually neat to be a couple of weeks behind everyone else because then I could see your picture, so I knew what to expect. And I already knew the answers to the questions of the problem. So I learned also a lot about, how to keep the pests away. So yeah, thank you everyone. And I'm growing in Vaialua because I never planted it out in the field. I've been basically just carrying the pots in and out of the greenhouse depending on how the weather was. So yeah, I had some losses due to pests. I had some losses due to just carrying them and something just flopping over. I protected them against the goats also being loose in the greenhouse. So yeah, it was a great experience. I hope I can be in the next round again. I learned a lot, and I really liked being able to rewatch the sessions, rewatch the videos, because my biggest problem was just the time of, finding time to do everything. But I was able to rewatch the videos. Sometimes I sped them up just so I can get through them faster. And also, yeah, the platform with the photos was great. I never posted anything because I usually tended to all my plants in the middle of the night, so all my photos were kind of dark. But yeah, it was just nice to see what everyone else was doing. So yeah, thank you everyone for sharing. And sorry, I was sharing more of my own pictures.
Thanks, Kat. DJ, are you out there? And have you shared yet?
No, I'm just coming in from outside. I realized what time it was. I was in the garden, so I totally missed out the whole beginning of this. So if you can just tell me what we're sharing about, our
Just
experience.
just an opportunity to take 1 minute and offer just reflections on the course, whatever you want to share.
Oh, okay. All right, let me see if I can get myself.
Ta-da.
All right. Yeah, it was really amazing for me. I felt like I really was able to tune in my attention to all the little details about growing things, which I've been growing things, but not to this extent where I'm concerned about every little bug or, what's happening in the garden. So I learned a lot about pests and just how taking a daily look is going to teach me a lot more about what needs to be done. Um, Kind of was getting to the point where it was almost as if um, this sounds kind of funny, but where nature was actually telling me what I needed to do. Like I started seeing all the cardinals, jumping on top of the kale and the lettuce, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get some protection. And then I run out with a mosquito netting that I had in the house, and I see this bee trying to pollinate the flower, and I'm like, okay, that's not gonna work. I need something with bigger holes. And so obviously I had to look around Maui to find netting, which right now I couldn't find anything but the deer netting. I found one at Dell's, and so I grabbed that, and now I'm covering everything. Just because I know how the birds are here. Normally I plant enough that I don't worry about it. I see the birds having fun, and then I'll go and harvest with them, and then it's enough. But because I'm saving seed for a different cause, I need to, put my attention more into that. So I think it just helped me with all the little subtleties of things and learn more about pests and diseases, which I don't think I was really paying attention to because I would just eat it before the bugs would eat it in the past. Or, but the tomatoes, I'm just amazed what a difference in the tomatoes compared to the tomatoes I'd been growing before. My husband had been growing some beefsteak tomatoes, and I was putting those practices to his tomatoes, and they're looking just amazing. So, um, yeah, I guess that's part of what I'm sharing. It's been really great for me.
Thank you so much. And Selena, have you shared?
Yeah, no, I'm also at work, so I appreciate all the knowledge, all the wisdom that you folks have provided and giving us flexibility with um, just learning about our particular areas and the differences. Um, and I appreciate the options that we were able to ask questions and also share pictures and such and see how others are doing. So, mahalo. Thank you for letting me be a part of it. It's been a lot of good learning experience.
Thank you, Selena. And is there anyone out there that I missed that would like to share their reflections? All right, well, we'll open it up to some of the presenters. I can call on you, but you could just unmute and share if you have any last words that you want to share in closing. Michelle, you have anything you want to share?
Sure, I can go first. Yeah, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here with us and yeah, for seeing this through to this far. It's growing food is difficult and growing seed is next level difficult. And so your perseverance, your commitment, I always like to tell people that, it's a lot of work for sure, but your dedication is going to get you there. And I see that with all of you. I see all of your commitment, and that's inspiring. I was really inspired by the sheer number of you that wanted to come to this course and learn how to save seed. Like just knowing that there's this many people out there and that we actually had to select you all down from like 80 applications. That is just so heartwarming and inspiring to know that there's this many of us out there that have this type of desire in our heart to protect our food supply. So thank you all for being here, and let's stay in touch.
Thank you, Michelle. Bertan, you want to share?
Sure. Right on. Aloha, everyone. Yeah, just what a pleasure to do this course. I'll thank my fellow seed growers first. It was really fun to do this course together. I think it was mentioned like this is our first time teaching together, and yeah, it was like good learning curve for us. And you all were as students were just wonderful to have. As Evan said, so timely and yeah, the postings and what you guys are up to. So yeah, for me, just really looking forward to having more growers. That's a big part of the work here for us, and to get seeds out to the greater um, Hawaii in general. And for those of you who aren't gonna join the network as seed growers, that you're gonna be saving seed and you're all inspired. So thank you all for sharing tonight. It's great to hear all the inspiration, and yeah, keep growing and keep up the good work, saving seeds. Thank you.
Glenn?
Yes, it's been a great experience. I think sharing with you folks, learning a lot from the other teachers. Growing seed is not rocket science, but there are basic steps you need to follow. And I keep learning my mistakes on a daily basis. Growing takes a lot of observation, kilo, checking the garden daily, as some of you mentioned. Need to really stay on top of it. Um, Mistakes are to be expected. That's part of the whole thing because you don't have control over the situation, especially with our crazy weather in Hawaii. But common sense is really important. Um, I We all make mistakes. I mean, yesterday I harvested some long beans, and I usually try to keep it separate, but I said, oh, I'll just throw it in with the dried long beans. and all this fungus came out. So as growers, as seasoned growers, we still make mistakes. So it's and trouble is all around us. I mean, I had birds eating up my papaya seedlings. And then today, one of our dogs dug up a whole tray of Hawaiian onions, akakai, and I wanted to beat him up, but I kind of just let him run away. Um, Always a lot of stuff to do. I mean, I'm right here. This is my pumpkin and squash room, and onions and garlic. And my wife is out weeding garlic right now, so she has the hard work to do today. Um, we just have to kind of keep going. And I think some of you mentioned the importance of this work, and I learned the importance during COVID when nobody could get seeds, and we shared over 500 packets of seed out of our office. We had 2 refrigerators full of seeds. We only gave it to people who came through our gardening programs because everybody wanted to grow, but most people didn't know how to grow. So you learned one part is the how to grow. Now you can refine your process to do it better than you did before. You're gonna get more pomo seeds, and pomo is definitely a jewel, as well as that beautiful tomato that Evan is growing. Um, I'm involved in seeds every single day. Um, Today I cleaned yellow mustard seeds that I got from somebody called Greg Poupon, and so I'm really excited about making some cream sauces out of that. I cleaned some pak choy and UH seed basil. Tomorrow is Thai basils, daikon, and double butterfly peas. So life is busy. Once I retired in 23, I'm still trying to learn what I do at different times of the day. I'm trying to work it where I wake up early in the morning, I work a little hard. When it gets hot, come inside and do inside work, and then go out late afternoon, like right now. um, but I just, I think you gotta learn that sometimes you can turn mistakes into a new product. I made the mistake of growing Komatsuna and Wongbok at the same time, and they crossed, and I had these giant Wongbok Komatsunas coming out. And Nancy said, "Oh, you can make a mustard braising mix." So I just made a mustard braising mix with this stuff. And then another one that came up this year, I accidentally crossed broccoli and cauliflower, and everyone came out different, and they're beautiful. Unfortunately, the Borgata bug came and ate up all the seed heads and destroyed all the seeds, but I still got the mother seeds, and I'm gonna be planting them out. So you're gonna see some broccoli, cauliflowers around. Um, and every plant was different. So I'm still excited, and I hope I can convey that excitement to each of you folks to continue on through the summer. I think somebody mentioned what they were growing, roselle and butterfly peas and squash. Those are the things to grow in an area where you have a lot of guinea grass, like my place, and I'm harvesting exactly those things today. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. I hope you learned, and most importantly, spread the knowledge around to your friends and neighbors, including the seeds. Okay, aloha.
Thank you, Glenn. And Marielle?
Hi, everybody. Well, as probably the only person in this group who is not actively gardening or farming, I'm a little bit out of place. But I guess my main takeaway would be just gratitude. I'm so grateful that all of you have committed to carrying on this work, especially because there are so many folks like me who cannot. Um, and I think that, I don't know if you guys know, but about 10 years ago or so, I took the Train the Trainers course with Nancy and Glenn and a bunch of other folks, and it made a real it changed my life. I was planning on moving back to the mainland from Hawaii, and after participating, I felt this like kuleana, to be a part of seed conservation and seed saving and this movement here in Hawaii. And it made me decide to stay. And so my husband has said he's grateful to you guys that you convinced me to stick around because that's when I met him. But I hope that this experience has been equally transformative for all of you, and thank you for all of the time and energy and, you know, energy that you all have brought to this whole experience. Thank you.
Mhm. And Nancy?
Wow. Okay. Well, I think I have been so inspired by what you have all said tonight. It's just kind of overwhelming, actually, because mm, because it was an online class and we didn't have a lot of class discussions. It was hard to know how people were feeling, or, if you weren't on Padlet, it was really actually very challenging. I've been a teacher for a really long time, but I've always been a teacher in front of a live class. This is the first time I've ever tried to do an online class. And I must say, at the beginning, it was a little overwhelming to me and it was incredibly challenging. But now that we have come to the end and I see how each one of you just took such responsibility for your own learning and for your own kind of evolution with this subject. Yeah, I'm just thrilled. And I can see that even though online learning isn't I'd rather have you all standing in my garden with me so we can look at the plants together. But if we can't be there, then we need to be here because, as you all know, we need to make this happen in a much bigger way, and we're on the right track. So yeah, thank you so much for just for all your kuleana with this. It's been pretty amazing. I wanted to share one more thing. This is my favorite book. Like if you're gonna buy one book about seed that you can like use as your reference book, it's called Seed to Seed, and I'll put this in the chat. And it's by Suzanne Ashworth. What I love about it is it's super practical, and it doesn't expect it takes you just from the beginning to the end. And each crop has its own pages, and it tells you everything you need to know about seed saving for every single crop. And then this book too, The Organic Seed Grower by John Navazio, who was one of our mentors early on in the Hawaii Seed Growers Network, who passed away a year or so ago. This is a really fabulous book, and I'll put that in the chat too. And it's set up pretty much in the same format where you can look up a crop and you can read all about it before you even start growing the crop. And then I just, of course, want to all invite you over to my farm. Like anytime you want to come, Cynthia came to my farm and we had so much fun. So anytime you're over in Kona or you come to Hawaii Island, just give me a call or email me and let me know you're here and you just drop by and say aloha and we'll get to know each other. So looking forward to next year, looking forward to reading senior evaluations and any other feedback that you have. So mahalo.
Mhm. And yeah, I guess it's me. I will share just to close it up. One is just a reminder that we will continue via email, just checking in to support you guys through getting your final seeds, your plants to seeding and harvesting the seed and drying the seed. And so, yeah, definitely reach out if you have any questions along the way, challenges. The course is over in this format, but it continues because the plants are in your garden right now growing. And so we're here to support you on that and also continue to post photos in the Padlet. It's a great way to connect and just like to see people's process in harvesting and drying and whatever way. It's a great community forum to do that. And as mentioned already as well, we really appreciate your feedback in the evaluation. It's going to be really supportive of us moving forward and expanding this network. And I just want to note that this is a network. Like it's a group of people working together. And it's the thing that's inspired me to continue with the seed work is just how powerful the community is. And someone mentioned the like getting to learn your to play the guitar from your favorite rock stars. And like this is what I get out of it is I get to work with this incredible group of people. And then even hearing, some of the people in this group and just knowing like how much I can learn from you guys and like the powerful work that you're doing with students out in the world and communities out in the world through the Master Gardener program or through Go Farm or through teaching in the schools. It's just a beautiful way that we all get to keep sharing this knowledge and wisdom and this kuleana, moving it forward. So yeah, so just really inspired by all of you participating in this and your interest in growing and also just want to note because I heard of so many people use the word failure in talking about their, growing out the crops. And I always like to share when I teach classes that, my first garden, I planted out 60 starts one day and I left for the day and I came home and every single one of them had died and was just like fried by the sun. And it was, yeah, it was a failure, but really it was such a great success because it just taught me so much about resiliency and continuing to show up and the learning opportunities that come from all the challenges, so that next time I don't make the same mistakes, or I do make the same mistake, or I make a different mistake, but the successes keep happening. And so even hearing some of you it's like, oh, I failed at, these two crops, but these two are doing well. Well, that's a wonderful success overall to have, 50% of the crops you planted are actually coming to fruition and you're bringing seed forward. Even if it was less than that, just to know that like you're going to try again and keep growing. And so, yeah, so just really encouraging you all to keep growing. And as Glenn said, it's not rocket science growing seeds. And these courses, we have the ability to really complicate it and it makes it sound much more complicated than it is. And but I encourage you taking the form that we teach and moving towards the formless and really simplifying the practices and finding success through that. And I know a lot of you are intending to grow seed for the network and some of you aren't. And I know I shared this at the beginning of the course, which is just for me, I always imagine that if every grower in the state of Hawaii just stewarded one crop, just carried one crop forward to share seed within the state and continued to store it, locally adapted and stored it, we'd have thousands and thousands of crops available, locally adapted crops. And so for those that might not be inclined to grow for the network, I just really encourage, yeah, reconsidering that or just considering stewarding one crop, even if you're just going to share the seeds with your community and give them out and get them out there that that maybe we can take on that responsibility moving forward to have that one crop. And otherwise, yeah, just want to extend my gratitude to, all the presenters for showing up so fully and I've learned so much. Marielle, not as a grower, but we couldn't have done this course without you. Just, holding down all the technological aspects of bringing us together so seamlessly, truly so seamlessly, so appreciative of that. And everyone just for, yeah, showing up so fully and, growing the crops out, showing up for class, bringing your enthusiasm, bringing your questions. We can't do this alone. And so thanks for being a part of it. And unless someone has any other final words, we're at 7:04 right now. And yeah, thank you all so much for being a part of this.
I actually have one thing to add.
Yay.
And that is to just thank you, Marielle, for contributing the dry cards to us. So I saw Marielle at the variety showcase and she came up to me and she handed me this fat stack of dry cards to share with you all. So yes, so I'm going to be sending out an email and for those of you who would like a dry card, you can just reply to the email and with your address. Just go ahead and just let me know that you'd like one. You're going to be drying your seed, and I'd be happy to just pop one into the mail and get it out to you. So yeah, thanks so much, Marielle. That's so helpful for all of us.
All right. Thank you all.
It's a game changer to know the moisture content of your seed. It's a true game changer. I mean, as soon as you have that, you have this power in your hands. So, mahalo, Marielle. Thank you. And Michelle for sending them out. Thank you. And Evan, thank you so much for holding the space for all of us throughout the 10 weeks. Thank you.
And thank you all. Have a beautiful evening and beautiful summer and happy gardening and growing and celebrating. And yeah, we look forward to sharing more in the future.
Aloha, everyone.
Aloha.
Ahui ho.